Hey y'all, how about some good fried pork chops tonight? Goodness, I love fried pork chops. That has always been a family favorite of ours. Both of my boys have always loved them. So let's get started with it. First, I'm going to mix up our flour here that we're going to batter them in, okay? So I'm thinking I'm going to do about, let's see. I don't usually measure this, but I'm trying to for y'all. Let's see. That's about, I'm trying to think how much I might need. About 1.5 cups. We're going to start with that, okay? So we have that, and then the next thing we're going to put in is some cornstarch. Now, normally with this much flour, I would put about 2 tablespoons. However, I didn't know until I got my cornstarch out that I was almost out. So we're going to see how much we have. Let's see. I'm just going to put all that in there. I'd say that's probably a good tablespoon, maybe a little bit over. Well, we're just going to make do with what we've got because I'm not running back to the store. Okay, knock that off. So we have the cornstarch, which, like I said, typically you would want to do about 2 tablespoons. So since I don't have enough of it, I'm going to put in a little bit of baking powder. Now, what both of these do is help give you that good crispy crust, okay? If you've never done this before, try it. And some of you may already do it this way. So I'm going to put in about 1 teaspoon of baking powder, okay? All right, now we're going to put in some seasonings real quick. Let's see here. I don't want that. That's for something else. All right, so we're going to do paprika. Let me wipe this off because we're going to do about 1 teaspoon of each of these to start with. So 1 good teaspoon of paprika. Let's see, a good teaspoon of onion powder. I love fried pork chops, don't y'all? And I thought, I have been hiking so hard this week. I've been eating healthy this week. So tonight I'm going to have me one of my favorite little unhealthy meals. Oh, and this is a teaspoon of garlic powder. All right, let's see. Let's do some seasoning salt. We'll say about a teaspoon of that as well. We have a lot of flour here. All right, and let's do some pepper. I'm thinking, I don't want to put my finger in there. I'm thinking about a good teaspoon of that will be good too. All right, and one other thing I want to put in here is some lemon powder, or lemon pepper, I'm sorry. I love the flavor of this in there, so just however much you want. That's probably a good tablespoon. Okay, so now we're going to give this a mix. And let's tell you what, let's go ahead and put it in our dish here. It'll be a lot easier. Put it in our dish here that we're going to batter our pork chops in. And now I have my pork chops over here soaking, brining, marinating, whatever you want to call it. And I'm fixing to tell you what all I put in that. Now you don't have to do it that way. I have done it just where I just dipped them right in this flour mixture and fried them up that way. But I do like this other way too. So I thought, since I've not had these in a while, I'm fixing to go all out, y'all. Okay, so what I did over here with our pork chops, see, I have them in this right here, in this bag. Now, what I put in this bag was, I'm going to set it down in case it starts leaking. I did, now I have 6 pork chops in there, 6 pretty big bone-in pork chops. What I put in it was about a cup of buttermilk. And you can use regular milk if you don't have buttermilk. I just happen to have it. 1 egg. A dash of hot sauce. Don't worry, that won't be hot. It just gives it a little bit of extra spice. And then I put in all of our seasonings that I just put in this. I put in a teaspoon of paprika. A teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of regular salt. I didn't put the seasoning salt in there, and then a teaspoon of pepper. Mix all that up really good. Poured it in this good Ziploc bag. Threw the pork chops in there, and they have just been sitting out here for about 30 minutes, because either if you brine them or if you don't, you want to let your pork chops sit out for a little bit and get room temperature, because then they're going to fry up so much better and you're going to get that better crispiness on your pork chops. Okay, so let me get all this drained off, and I'm going to batter these up, and then I'll come back. All right, y'all, I have all of our pork chops battered up. Just like this. I just go ahead, batter them all at the same time, because it's good to let them sit and let that batter rest on there also for a little bit. I've got my oil getting hot over here. I'm using my cast iron skillet. And let's see, let me test it for a second. See. Once it gets where it's pretty hot, then I like to add in about 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. There we go, yeah. I like to just do a mixture of both. The oil will keep the butter from burning, and the butter will give it just a little bit more flavor and help give them a little bit more of that good golden color. Again, y'all may do these the exact same way, but I'm just showing you how I like to do mine. And also, I meant to told y'all, if you don't brine your pork chops before you batter them up, at least after you wash them, dry them off real good and season them with some salt and pepper to get a little bit of season on the actual meat before, even though we have all the seasoning in our flour, you want to put a little bit just directly on the meat. Because like I said, I don't always brine. It just depends if I have time or not. So today I did. And if you can do that sometime when you have time, do it and let me know what y'all think. I think you'll love it if you've never done it. Okay. Now these are some big pork chops, y'all. I'm using the bone-in. I would rather have a bone-in pork chop than a boneless, but I use both. Just depends. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do, I have 6, so I think we're going to try to fit in 3 at a time. Let's see if that's hot. Yeah, it's pretty good. Not crazy hot, but pretty hot. Let's see. These are so big. These will be good grilled too. Alright, I don't know if we're going to fit another one in that one or not, because you don't want to overcrowd your skillet for sure. So these are 2 big ones, so we're just going to do these 2 for right now. It's better to do more batches than overcrowd, because then they're not going to fry the same. Okay, y'all, I'm going to let these fry up for a little bit, and I have my rack over here. And then I have some sliced potatoes back here. I'm going to make mashed potatoes. I'm telling you, I'm cheating tonight, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Hey, y'all. Okay, our first little batch of pork chops are done. Look at those. I tell you what, they are smelling good. I have 2 more over here in my skillet. I'm fixing to turn my potatoes on. I always wait until usually there's only a few minutes left and everything else, because I like my potatoes to be good and hot. My mashed potatoes, I do. And then I have a skillet here that I put a little bit of olive oil in, and I'm going to saute up some zucchini in there. So I have it sliced up, and that's where we're at right now, and I'll come back. Okay, y'all, we've got the second batch out, so now we have 2 more to put in there to fry, and that is quick. Like, it takes no time to do this, y'all. It seems like something hard, but it doesn't take long at all. All right, y'all, here is our last pork chop. Getting it out, sitting it here. And what I normally do is I take my hot skillet, because it has all this grease in it, and you can't do nothing with it right now. So I typically just sit it in the oven and let it cool off. And then I tend to it later. All right, I have our potatoes boiling back here. Look at this zucchini. It is searing up real good. I just did a little bit of olive oil, tossed in just maybe about a tablespoon of butter. Not much, because this was only 1 zucchini. I'm the only one here that eats that. And then I seasoned with salt, pepper, and garlic, and that's it. And then all we have to do now is wait on our potatoes. It won't take them long, but let me show you another, or one of the things that I really like to do whenever I make mashed potatoes. I have this little bitty pot back here, and what I do is I go ahead and put my butter in there. And I just put that in there and just let it, turn it on low and let it slowly melt while I'm cooking all of my other stuff. All right, and then now I'm gonna put in just a little bit of sour cream. Let's see, that's probably about, let's do about 2 tablespoons, not much. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pour in some heavy whipping cream. Not much of it, because we don't need that much. Let's see, maybe 1/4 of a cup. Now, if you're not sure, you can wait. I've done it this way so many times, I kind of know. But, and the reason I do that is because I do not want to have cold mashed potatoes. By the time you put the butter in there and your milk or heavy cream, whatever you're using, I'm turn these zucchini off, they're done. By the time you get all of that put in there, you have cold mashed potatoes. So if you do it this way, after you drain your potatoes, pour that in, use your mixer or however you're doing it, and your potatoes are nice and hot and buttery and so good. But anyway, I'll come back and we will finish this thing up. Okay, y'all, I have drained our potatoes, and look who decided to come in here in the kitchen. Well, where'd she go? There she is. She's smelling this food. Get up there and sit down. Go sit in Mama's chair. Sit down. Go get in a chair. Get in Mama's chair, Belle. Get up there. Get up there. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. All right, y'all. So, drain, and I love this. I always call this my mashed potato pan because I can use my mixer in this pan. You know, a lot of them, they have that coating and all that on there, and you can't. That's why I love to use this pan. That's the only thing I ever use it for. It's old as I don't know what, but I love it for my mashed potatoes. All right, so I have drained them. And then, like I said, I have my mixture here. This is just some butter, a little bit of sour cream, and a little bit of heavy cream. And then we just pour that over just like that. And then just mix them up. And again, y'all, the amount of sour cream and all of that you use just all depends on how many potatoes you're making, of course, like anything else. I'm not making very many. You can see I have about half a pot here. But now if I were making more, I'd probably do, you know, of course I would do more. But let me blend these up real quick. All right, let's plate this good meal up, y'all. I have our potatoes mixed up. Now, I did add a little bit more heavy cream. They were a little bit thick, but that's okay. Like I said, if you do have to add something else after you have already heated your stuff up, at least you're not putting all that cold stuff in there. Just something a little bit is not going to hurt it, okay? So let's see. Let's get some potatoes out. And something else I always like to do, after I get them blended up, I like to put just a little bitty piece, just maybe about that thick, of butter on top, and then that way we can mix it all up because it's going to melt down. And then they have that good buttery taste on top, okay? All right. Let's see. Y'all, when my boys were growing up, I think we had mashed potatoes almost every single night. This was one of their favorites, especially Braden. He could eat his weight in mashed potatoes. He loves them. And he always said that whenever he moved out, that he was going to always come home so he could have some of my mashed potatoes. Thank goodness there's something that'll bring him home, right? All right, and then I have this zucchini. Like I said, this was so easy. I just threw it in this skillet, seared it up for a little bit, and it's good and soft and flavorful. And put some of that down there. Let's see, what do I need? There we go. And these pork chops smell so good, y'all. I've had them over here just cooling. Now, if y'all will notice, I made sure that my pork chops were completely all done before my potatoes got done. And there's a reason for that. Anytime you're frying something, especially, you need to have most of your attention on that because things burn fast and then your whole dinner is going to be messed up. So try to time everything out to where by the time you're mixing up potatoes, you're not having to worry about a pork chop over here in the skillet burning. You know what I mean? So I like to get all of that done and then I not have to just wait just a few minutes on my potatoes to get done, and then I can mash them up, and then everything is done. And then other things like the zucchini or green beans or something like that, you can just have it on the stove on warm, and it's still going to be good and hot. Okay, I try to tell everybody that don't ever get too many things going at once. Get your stuff prepared. Get out everything that you're going to need. If you got to cut something up, go ahead and cut it up. Get out all of your stuff and get all of your prep work done first, and that helps so much with your cooking, I promise. All right, now let's get one of these good pork chops, y'all. Let's see, I'm going to get this one right here. I've been eyeballing this one. Look at this, y'all. Now, this may be fried a little too much for y'all, but this is how I like them. I like them fried up, crispy. That is my favorite. We're going to get us a taste here. Alright, so let's taste these mashed potatoes. Y'all ain't made mashed potatoes in so long. Goodness. And I like them buttery. There's nothing healthy about this right here that I'm fixing to eat. You get a piece of this pork chop. You just pull that off just like that. Dip it in your mashed potatoes. Just like that. Perfect. Give me a napkin. This is so good, y'all. One of my favorite things to have. And then this zucchini is perfect. I love zucchini. And I love to slice it up like this because it seems like it's not so easy to just fall completely apart. You still have some texture to it. But anyway, there's little Bella over there. She's smelling all this food, so she knows it's time to eat. She's wanting her bite. You wanting a bite? You want a bite? Okay. All right. Well, since she jumped down, come over here. I'll let her get up here. Come here. Come here. Say hi. Say hi to all your friends. So we washed all of my Halloween hoodies today, so I put on she has on one of her other ones. This one on the back says, "Give me some sugar." I said, if that don't fit her, I don't know what does. Let's see if Mama can find you a little bitty bite. What about that? What about that? You want down where you can go eat it, aren't you? Okay. Y'all know how they do. They have their little spot where they want to eat. Anyway, y'all, if you've never tried pork chops this way, try it. Adding the cornstarch, the baking powder, the brining, all of that, you'll make a really, really good fried pork chop. And also, if you don't do that with your mashed potatoes, please do, because it makes all the difference in the world. All right, I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.